From 1994, this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or rather Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. This is unsurprisingly my number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
garbage.
There should be nobody watching any of these movies who has any debate about this. Yep.
It is there. It is the seed of Chucky of the franchise. Almost nothing redeemable.
Yep.
Everything sucks. It's just a dumpster fire. It's the curse of Michael Myers of that franchise. It's just every franchise has this one where they just got everything wrong, and it's basically universally despised.
Yep.
This is
the one.
And I debated even putting this on the table, but you kind of have to have some shit to appreciate the gold, right?
Yep.
Like you can't all be sunny days up here. We got to have a little bit of rainstorm. And this movie's it does everything wrong. Let's get into it.
Yep.
Let's do the plot here. This is directed by Kim Henkel. Do you know that name?
Well, she's produced a number of these, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, I thought for some reason I thought it was a guy.
I think it's a girl.
Yeah, whatever.
Maybe. I don't know.
Kim Henkel. She or he. They are a producer on almost all these films. They co-wrote Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 with Tobe Hooper.
Yep.
Tobe Hooper and Kim Henkel co-wrote this fucking movie. And Kim Henkel directed this film.
Yep.
So you have two people that gave us this masterpiece, gave us this pile of shit.
But we've talked about
what happened?
This. We had this discussion before. Yeah, Tobe Hooper.
Are you referring to the critically acclaimed pilot for Freddy's Nightmares?
Like he gets credit where it's due for what he did, but I feel like
he also directed 2.
Yeah,
he also directed 2.
But I feel like his catalog overall doesn't
shaky.
support.
Yeah, it's shaky. Yeah,
well,
we've also talked about when original creators come back and just ruin their own franchise, a la Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is universally,
amazing.
Which 50% of Slash Cinema co-hosts think is terrible, so that's half. So it's not got a good track record. The 50%, if we was Rotten Tomatoes score, would have 50% because you'd give it 100, I'd give it 50. So it would just
be right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Okay, so it opens with yet again a familiar narrator and text informing us that the 1973 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're describing it. It's informing us about it. I didn't catch this until now. So even though the original film is 1974, the actual massacre takes place in 73.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't catch. Literally, it was this movie where I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be in 73? Because they don't reference it otherwise.
Well, because the original movie, I think, is meant to be portrayed as like a news broadcast. That's why you've got that narration overview at the beginning.
Okay,
it's more of like a news accounting of what has happened.
I just interpreted it as, because they do this in movies all the time, where it's like, just because a movie is in 1990 doesn't mean the movie takes place in 1990. Yeah. It's like, that's just the release year. Yeah. That doesn't mean anything, right? Yeah. So, but whatever, okay? They then have the fucking balls to state that the narrator states, there were 2 other minor yet apparently related incidents shitting on the second and third films.
Again, it's their own movies, though.
What are you doing? Yeah. They minor yet apparently related.
Yeah.
Minor. Like, so the implication is like, this is the real sequel. 2 and 3, it's like that was baby shit.
Maybe
like,
they didn't even happen.
Yeah, they were exactly.
Yep.
Maybe those weren't even canon. Yeah. Now we're in 1994, and boy, does this film feel like it. We get this awful opening credit sequence of just plain white text on black background. Again, fail. Fuck you. Stop doing this. You had the same note.
Boring credits, white text over black background.
Yeah, I like that you're starting to catch this, though. That like me pointing it out has made you go like, yeah.
I better watch for this.
Well, but it's bad. It's bad. Do something. Yeah. Before revealing the title, did you catch this?
Yeah, so there's 2. There's two titles for this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
The title in the film that I watched, the version I watched, because apparently there's two versions. You watched the...
I watched the director's cut.
So that's the extended?
It's the 93-minute.
I watched... Oh, you poor fuck. Yeah. I watched the trimmed down theatrical.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there's two versions. I didn't care to look for another version because you can't fix this movie. There's nothing... You know how you fix this movie? You just fucking take this and you just throw it in the fucking goddamn fire and then you shoot a new movie. That's how... The only way to fix this movie. You couldn't... You can't fix it. It's too broke. The alternate title appears on the screen... The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
What a terrible name. That name sucks. Next Generation is not great.
No.
We're at some point we're going to go through all the films that use the Next Generation title. It is a very dark list of shitty sequels that use Next Generation.
It's like you're almost setting your own movie up to fail right away.
Right. Yeah. So again, two titles, confusing. Yep. Okay, sure. Cut to a young girl named Jenny, played by pre-fame Renee Zellweger, one of two actors in this movie that are before they were famous.
Yep.
She's getting ready for prom, and they do that thing where it's like Renee Zellweger is pretty hot, so it's like, okay, put a big goofy pair of glasses on her, make her hair like very plain, all frumpy. Yep. Yeah, so they ugly her up because she's supposed to be playing like the nerdy, reserved girl. She's not the hot chick in this movie, right? We then get introduced to two more prom goers, Heather and Barry. And Heather catches Barry kissing another girl and peels off in her car. Barry catches up and jumps in, declaring his innocence. And he's just such a piece of shit in this scene. I love it. He's like, I didn't do anything. And she's like, I saw you. And he's like, okay, I kissed her one time. God. And then she's like, she keeps pressing him and he's like, God, I can't even talk to a friend.
I wasn't doing anything. I don't know what you're so pissed off about.
Barry, I saw you. You were kissing her.
Once. I kissed her once. What's wrong with that? Come on, it's like I can't even talk to my friends anymore. I can't believe how possessive you are.
Oh, right. I guess that's why you were feeling her up.
Look, guys need sex, okay? It's bad for you to get all worked up and then not get it. You can get prostate cancer. Is that what you want?
Like, he keeps downplaying this like so hard.
I kissed her once. What's wrong with that? These people are awful. They're terrible characters. Yeah, we'll get there.
Well, yeah, they're not good. They're not good. We are a far cry away from Sally, Stretch, and God, I'd maybe even kill for a Franklin at times. You know?
Whoa.
That's saying something because Franklin sucks.
He's awful.
Jenny and her date Sean then pop out from the back seat. I guess they were back there making out. Sure. And this startles Heather, causing her to lose control of the car, and she actually hits another car.
Yep.
And then the group, because they're just a bunch of dumb teenagers, they all freak out and they just peel off because just like mature adults would do. That's how you handle that. Yep. The group then starts to bicker for a few minutes about what to do in the situation, further revealing just how much of an asshole Barry is. The group continue driving, where they then just end up in an unknown area in town.
Yeah.
It's like, how long were you driving for? Why did you just keep driving?
You live here.
But no, they drove for like, I guess, half an hour out into the countryside because they have no idea where they are. They get completely lost. Suddenly, another car comes out of nowhere and slams into their car. The driver of the other car is revealed to be some other kid who was drunk. Maybe?
Yeah.
I didn't quite get this. This happens a lot in these movies where it's like, usually it's somebody that escapes the Sawyers, goes out into the road, and they then have to... There's a lot of cars swerving in this series and crashing. Formula is very important to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, apparently. But I didn't get the sense that this was someone escaping the Sawyers. I think it was just a coincidental drunk kid.
Yeah.
Why was he out in the middle of nowhere? There's nobody else in his car. It's not like he was going out there to, fuck some girl in the back seat. What was he doing out there?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I don't know. We're never going to get that answer. They debate again about what to do because now it's like, well, my car's wrecked. I don't want my dad to know what happened. Like Barry's like going off about this, and they're like, well, the kid's hurt. We got to go get him help. And they're like, no, fuck that. Let's just leave. Like, we can't. He might die. Whatever. So they go to walk for help. They then stumble upon a mangled animal carcass that to me looked like a dinosaur. I don't know if you have a note about this.
No.
It does not look like an animal. It's got like giant pointed teeth. And it's like, what animal is that? Like even cows don't have like, what is this animal that just has giant
piranha
teeth?
Yeah.
Right. It looks like a dinosaur. It's a terrible prop. Terrible. Fail to whoever made that fucking prop. Fail. They then stumble upon some sort of office. They find like this pseudo office building in the middle of nowhere. It's like a real estate office.
It's like a trailer, but turned into an office. But
right.
why?
But why? And we are introduced to another character. It's this eccentric woman that's, I guess, a real estate agent. She's like dressed in like a business suit, business attire.
Still working in the middle of the night.
In the middle of nowhere.
For no reason. Yep.
Right. And she's not even like phased about what they're talking about. She's like, I'll go call for help. Don't worry about it. And help arrives back at the truck when a tow truck pulls up, and we're introduced to Vilmer, played by Matthew McConaughey, the second of our acclaimed actors in this pile of shit film.
Yep.
He immediately declares, I can't remember, it's like Sean is the one that stays. Sean is he's Renee Zellweger's date. And he's back at the crash site. Barry, other girl, and Renee Zellweger. I've already forgotten all their names. Jenny, I think. Yeah. They're the ones that go look for help. And he like shows up and he's like, yeah, he's dead. And then he's like, I don't think so, man. He was just talking. And then like McConaughey just like snaps his neck.
Yeah.
Like instantly, no hesitation. It's like, Jesus Christ. He's like, well, he's dead now. It's like, okay.
For no reason whatsoever.
Well, it's just like, there's no subtlety, right? It's just like, nah, he's just a monster. It's like, okay, sure.
Yep.
Don't hold back. So then scared, Sean runs away. Vilmer starts chasing him in his truck in one of the dumbest sequences in the entire film.
Yes.
Okay, Mark, if you were being chased by a truck, what would you do?
Get off the road.
Get off the road.
Yep.
What does Sean do?
Run straight down the middle of the road.
Literally.
Yep.
It's not even like the road is hugely wide. It's like this narrow width road. On both sides of him is forest.
Yep.
It's not even field where it's like, oh, the truck might jump the curb and then just chase you down the field. It's like trees. You could literally just run off into the forest and the truck ain't gonna follow you through the trees magically.
Disaster averted.
No, he just keeps running down this straight line until eventually he's run over and killed because duh, that's what would happen.
And Vilmer's not even really driving all that fast.
No, he's toying with him.
He's got lots of time to realize, oh, wait, I should just get out of the way.
Right.
No.
Terrible.
Doesn't do it.
Fucking terrible. While walking back to the crash site, Jenny, Heather, and Barry split up, leaving Jenny alone. Heather and Barry find a creepy-looking house, which is clearly like the Sawyer house. Although I don't even think they're called Sawyers in this movie. Who knows? Who cares? Fuck this movie. The windows are all boarded up, so Barry looks for a way in. Heather is then grabbed by our Leatherface in this film and dragged inside, and moments later, Barry is also forced inside at gunpoint by another character. Another one of the Sawyer clan or whatever the fuck, the family in this movie. Later, Jenny is also chased by Leatherface and Vilmer, and also runs into the same creepy house that her friends are at. Jenny manages to escape and run back to the real estate agent lady, but surprise, she's also one of the group of sociopaths because of course she is. Yep. Why else have this character, right? Everyone, it's as formula as you get, right? Yep. It's like everyone has to be a part of the family. It's like there can't be any just new character. There's no Benny in this fucking movie, right? There's no wild card, right? Because that would have been the lame thing to do with Benny. Would have been like, oh, I'm also part of them. Even though that would make zero sense.
You get that moment where he's like, oh, bring him inside.
Yeah,
it's like, oh.
Yeah, for no reason, right? So what follows is Jenny's desperate attempt to escape from, I think, the Sawyer family.
I don't know if they ever actually.
I don't know
say
if
it.
they are the Sawyers. I'm not sure. I don't care. Fuck this movie. I have nothing. I have no positives.
Yep.
It's all okay. If I can give, sorry, I have a slight positive. Matthew McConaughey stands out so much in this film. He's not great, but he's trying. He's the only one in this film where you're like, you get little moments where you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty terrifying. His he's not goofy like everyone else in this movie. He genuinely has some menacing lines.
Yep.
And like you can see where that's why he stands out so much. It's like, oh, that's an actor.
You don't know shit about being scared, little girl. Not yet. You want scared? You want scared? Have a look behind you. Have a look. Yeah, how about that, huh? Look again, goddammit. Go ahead, look again.
I think I want you to stop and let me out.
You think? Or do you know? Huh? Go ahead and have a look. Get your better look.
Yep.
Because he becomes that fucking character. He goes too far with it, but he has some good creepy dialogue. He's got some like really terrifying moments. The scenes where he is tormenting Jenny in like the kitchen are actually unnerving and uncomfortable. It's honestly pretty brutal and it feels very authentic.
Yep.
Like he's the only standout in this movie. He's the only like little bit of quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like in stark contrast that we talked about this in past franchises. I think we were talking about this with Halloween 4 and 5, right? That the character Danielle Harris, like she's so good that she almost stands out too much because everybody else that surrounds her doesn't bring up their quality to a lineup.
No.
Same here, right? You know, Matthew McConaughey is very good in the role, but everybody else is just so terrible that it just makes him it stand out too much in a negative way, right? Like,
they decide to give him in a series of terrible decisions, just one more.
I know what
They
you're gonna
give him
say.
a robot leg.
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
Is that
And
a reference to 3 because Leatherface had the leg brace?
I don't know.
It's dumb.
And it never.
It's a terrible, goofy decision.
I know we talked about this in a previous episode that like not everything that they show needs to later become something in the movie, right?
Well, no,
Like,
you say that. I say everything has to be something.
So, well, here you go, right?
They pay this off. Right.
Do they?
Well,
I mean,
it's so dumb. Where it's like he has a robot leg,
and then like,
that
it has,
he
like,
can.
a
Why
remote
isn't it just a
control.
brace? Yeah, but he's got like 50 remote controls that all control the leg, and then at multiple times in the movie, people grab the remote and then fuck with the leg because, of course, then it's his Achilles heel. Then why even have the remotes, bro? Why not just have a manual leg brace? What is that robot leg
Like,
doing
you
for
can
you?
clearly walk around without the remote, so why have it? Yep. Nope. Exactly.
It's absolutely fucking stupid. There is another moment that he did that it's like, ooh, that was pretty brutal. He bites what's her name? Heather's face at one point. She's like on the ground unconscious and he bites her face. It reminded me of De Niro in Cape Fear. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
That's again, he just stands out. The most infamous scene I think with him in this movie is a lot of times when people show clips of this film, it's the you know what I'm talking about? When he goes off the rails when in the kitchen when
Kitchen scene, yeah.
Yeah. So Renee Zellweger, Jenny, she like turns the table on her captors and like gets a shotgun and aims it right at them. And she's like, don't move. And then Matthew McConaughey's like Vilmer is not he doesn't flinch at all. He's just doesn't react.
Yep.
He's not intimidated whatsoever. And he like grabs the shotgun and he's like, go ahead, fire it. He's like, come on, do me. So she's like, she has the fucking gun at him. She's like, do it. He's egging her on, right? And then she pulls the trigger and it just clicks.
Right.
There's no round in the barrel. And then he grabs the shotgun and like hits her, right? He then immediately fires the other barrel and there was a round in it. So he wasn't actually just bluffing. He's just out of his mind.
Yep.
she very much so could have just blown his head
Had
off.
the ability to do it.
Had she clicked both barrels or clicked the right barrel, he would have been dead.
Yep.
So like, I don't think the scene is as stupid as people think it is.
It is though.
Okay.
Pop goes the weasel.
It's just the problem is it goes over the top and it's too long of a scene and it's just like I don't know, it's just he goes the crazy shtick just goes on too far. Yeah. What else you got?
Not a single kill is shown on screen, from what I understand. I mean, other than
I don't
like
think
the
there's
kid getting run over by the truck.
I don't think there's a single chainsaw kill in this movie. I could be wrong, but
what else I got? The piece that you missed with the extended cut is there's at the beginning they suggest that perhaps Jenny's father is abusing her.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I read up on this.
So it's like, but
Who
why?
cares?
What's the point of that?
What is
like,
the-
it doesn't. They don't incorporate that anywhere else in the
Because
movie.
the director was a pervert, Mark. Because you watched the director's
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
So he was like, I want all the pervy shit kept in the film. All the things they wouldn't let me show you. Yeah. Yeah, you like
Justin
that?
Ashley, folks.
Yeah.
He's available for parties and
Yeah. I'll entertain a room.
You talked about the original, how the dialogue for the teenagers. You thought that some of their lines were a little bit short and they didn't really say a whole lot. And I kind of like that because it seemed like legitimate discussion that they would have. Right, the real teens talking. They seemed like actual teenagers that you would find at that time. The teenagers in this movie were the worst. The lines that they gave them, I almost felt like they were trying to make this like a Tarantino script because everybody was saying like edgy stuff the whole way through, and it was awful.
Okay, so
I
I have a counter to this.
yeah.
He's terrible. I kind of love Barry because he is comedically a piece of shit. And it's like, there's no way this couldn't have been written intentionally. Everything that comes out of his mouth is just, he is such a douchebag.
Yep.
And it is comedic how much of a douchebag they make him in this movie.
Yep.
The introduction of him in the car where he gets caught cheating and he's just like trying to talk his way out of it, right? He is so clearly he comes from privilege and he comes from money, and like he's so clearly used to being like the hot guy in the room that all the chicks want to get with, and he takes advantage of that, takes all women for granted. He sees them as like just trophies, and he's just has such an awful personality, right? And like his opening scene where like, it's great because Jenny is the smart girl, right? She's like the little nerdy smart girl, but she's not taking any shit from Barry.
Yep.
And like in the car, it's like Barry and his girlfriend who's pissed off at him, Heather, and then Sean and Jenny are in the back. And Barry just it's one lie after the next, and they keep calling him out on his lies. And he has like an answer for everything.
He doubles down on every single time.
Every time. And he's so quick at it that I'm kind of like, I respect you.
You can't get cancer from not having sex.
Oh, right. Like you'd know. You've never a date in your life, you're so ugly.
She is not.
Shut up, Sean.
He's just trying to make you think it's your fault.
Look, my father's a doctor, okay? I think I know what I'm talking about, so fuck you, Jenny.
No, that's just a line to get you to have sex with him. Ask Sean.
She's right.
He's never had a heart on in his life.
I know all his lines. He lived across the street from me till the 8th grade.
Shut up, Sean.
We were even friends before he got too cool. So fucking annoying.
Hey, it's not my fault you turned out to be such a little geek.
He used to come over to my house all the time, and he'd be laughing about all the girls he'd built up. His big line was to tell him that his father was a doctor, and that they could get breast cancer if they didn't get felt out.
Barry!
Okay, I lied. Big deal. It's not my fault they're stupid enough to believe it.
Because you are the ultimate bullshitter, and that's kind of awesome.
You actually believe yourself.
Right, yeah. It's not a lie if you're a piece of shit and believe it. Yeah, yeah. He has some heinous lines too that he says at Jenny's character. He's like, "What's wrong? Afraid someone will see you have tits?"
Yeah.
And it's like groping her.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines that he says is like, it's again, everything is an inconvenience to Barry. He thinks the world revolves around him and everything should service him, his needs. He's like, he makes a comment. He's like, after they get lost, he's like, fuck, there's no place to turn around. This sucks. There's never any place to turn around. These assholes don't know how to make roads.
There's no place to turn around. There's never any place to turn around. This sucks. These assholes don't know how to make roads.
That's such a dumb line.
Like, what is he talking about? They don't know how to make roads.
Right.
The people that make roads have inconvenienced Barry. That's the level of his narcissism.
Yep.
I kind of love Barry. He's another little
He's the
bright
one
spot.
bright spot.
Yeah, it's so bad that I like it. I like him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Part 3, one of the criticisms that I had was that it was too dark. You couldn't see anything. This movie is too bright. It's supposed to be in the middle of a forest, the middle of nowhere. They have lit the set so much that even when they drop their flashlight and it goes out and they're like, oh, now we can't see anything. Nope, you can see everything because they have the set lights on so bright that it's just like they're walking around in the daytime. I don't know if you caught that.
Well, so I have a point. The entire movie feels like a made-for-TV teen drama.
Yeah.
It's shot like a TV show. Even the opening font has like a simple 90s TV style. It looks like the same font for like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Like this feels like an episode of a shitty like Warner Brothers production.
Yeah.
I like shitty Warner Brothers productions.
It's like, don't get me wrong.
But this is a bad one. All the dialogue is just like crappy teenager dialogue, like you pointed out. All the characters feel like those characters.
Yeah. I similar to your point, I put this movie looks bad. I'm like, Justin is going to hate this, coming from an actual filmmaking background. It just looks really cheap. Like they didn't
It
know
looks like a made-for-TV
what they were
movie.
doing,
They
right?
don't know how to do cinematography right. Every shot's off.
I remember thinking while I was watching this that I was really surprised that this movie came out the way that it did because, there are so many people involved with making a movie, right? You've got the director, you've got the producers, you've got all the production staff, right? These movies don't go from, filming to print without being reviewed by numerous people. And yet somehow this mistake made it into the VHS tape and the DVD case, right? Like nowhere along the line did someone stop and say, hold on a second, this is a real piece of shit. And I got to tell you, there are movies that you'll watch that are just bad movies, right? But at least they're shot competently well. This movie's not. It's actually just a really bad, if I were to try to make a movie, it would look like this because I don't know anything about how to make a movie. So I'm really disappointed and surprised that something that had Tobe Hooper involved in it and other people who have made movies before would allow something like this to be the finished product. I'm just really surprised.
They couldn't even get the basics right.
Yeah.
Leatherface.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
They neutered him. He's terrible.
Yeah.
He or she in this film, I'm not sure. It's kind of he's kind of playing a little androgynous character.
Yeah. Leatherface
fucking sucks. He's just constantly shrieking and screaming and yelling, running around. He's even when he's attacking people, he seems to be afraid of them. The mask designs are bad in this. At one point, Jenny tells him what to do. Did you catch this? It was at the dinner because they do the dinner scene again. It's at the dinner scene, Jenny she stands up and Leatherface gets up to attack her, and then she's like, "You sit your ass down." And he's like, "Rrr." And I'm like, what did you do to this character?
And no one is gonna stop me. You sit the fuck down and shut up.
It's not
Yeah.
all horror is removed.
Yep.
All horror is removed with that character.
Every entry in this franchise so far has taken place well outside of established society. You are on a road trip and you get lost, and you don't know where you are and no one's coming to help you. They're literally 5 minutes from town.
Yeah.
the secretary. Like, what are you? Who are you? What are you doing here?
Well, the
Like,
whole okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. Like it's Vilmer's girlfriend.
I guess.
Yeah, that is what it is because they make a comment. It's Vilmer's girlfriend. Okay, sure.
And she stops off for pizza. They're cannibals.
Oh.
Why are they getting pizza?
Oh, well, again, talking about how it's like a 90s fucking TV show. Yeah, there's the whole goofy, like, her ordering pizza.
Going through the drive-thru, I think it was.
It's like a
and the
10-minute
cop-
scene. It's like, what is this? Ugh. I only have one last point. You want to interject with anything? Because feel free. It's all bad, folks. It's there's just not many bright spots in this stinker.
I mean, just it's important to note that, like, I think this movie, like, if you understand the timeline of how this was produced, they created the movie, they shot the movie, it got shelved, right? It wasn't coming out. In the midst of that, Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, you're gonna bring this up?
They become super famous.
They became
right?
megastars,
right? And then, seeing the opportunity to capitalize on that, the production team decided, oh, hey, we should recut this and then distribute it, focusing on the fact that we've got these two stars. And I could totally understand why Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey were adamant to try and prevent this from being released, because it's an absolute piece of shit. Like, we talk about movies that are bad movies, quote unquote bad movies. A lot of the movies that Justin and I watch are not good movies, but they're fun. This one is not good. Like, please do not waste your time watching this movie unless you want to see a study of what happens when everyone fails at
everything goes
a
wrong.
task, right?
Well, let's cap off this dumpster fire, man.
Yep.
Let's talk about the ending.
Ooh, interesting. Yep.
It goes off the fucking rails, but not in the good way that 2 does, because it's just nonsensical shit happens. Yep. Okay, so they try to recreate a dinner scene like they've done in so many of these movies, right? And it's like Vilmer and his girlfriend Darla, that's her name, and Leatherface, and Grandpa's there, and is the other guy there and the other guy's there too, whose name I can't remember, and they've got Jenny tied up. Okay.
Yep.
Vilmer then, like, out of nowhere attacks his girlfriend after, like, screaming and yelling for like 10 minutes. He, like, attacks his girlfriend, and then he, like, grabs a hammer and then just, like, smashes his brother in the head and kills him. Why? Yeah. Okay. Then Grandpa, who appears dead, he just gets up and walks out of the room. Like, you never see Grandpa do anything in any of these films. It's the most I've ever seen him do.
Yep.
And what does he do?
Gets some walks.
He gets the fuck out of the movie. It's like, even he doesn't want to be a part of this shit. So he's like, ugh, I don't want to be a part of it. He walks away. Then, like, out of nowhere, this politician, there's like a doorbell or knock on the door. And we get, like, this rich politician guy named Rothman shows up. And he's like, he looks like a lawyer or something. And he's got, like, this, like, driver that's clearly, like, his handyman. And I don't know what was going on with that. What was happening?
This is the agent. Like, my understanding was that they are doing an experiment to test how people respond to fear. And this is all a study. And this guy is like an agent that's part of this governmental study.
So there's actually a line of dialogue that supports that.
Yeah.
Darla at one point says, where is it? Yeah, I wrote it down here. There's some bullshit theory about the Sawyers working for a secret organization, but to do what?
It's his job to kill people.
Well, I really shouldn't be telling you this, but you know how you always hear these stories about these people who run everything, but nobody knows who they are, right? Well, it's true. I mean, I never would have believed it, but it's all true. I mean, who do you think killed Kennedy?
Government?
No, that government stuff is bull crap. It's these people. And they've been doing this kind of thing for like 1,000 or 2,000 years, I forget which. And nobody, I mean nobody knows their names. And that's who Vilmer works for.
Yeah.
What
They're
like, what is the goal
testing the
here?
impact of fear on people.
Right. Because yeah, Darla has some little stupid dialogue she says about that. But like, okay, so like the Rothman guy's like, you are here for one reason only. Do you understand that? I want these people to understand the meaning of horror. Is that clear? No, nothing's clear. Who are you? What is happening?
You can't introduce something like that.
10 minutes
at the
in,
end.
there's like 10 minutes left of runtime. He then like reveals, I'm hoping this was in the director's cut. He like opens his shirt. Did you catch this? You know what I'm talking about? You
don't remember this,
Oh
but-
my God. I will have to show you this off camera. He like opens his shirt up. He walks up to Jenny and he like opens up his shirt and he has like 3 hoop piercings on his chest. Like
I do remember this.
Okay. It's like something out of Hellraiser.
Yeah.
What?
Why?
Why? What is that? He like and then he starts like licking Jenny. It's like it's clearly not a stable scientist guy.
Yep.
So who the fuck are you? What is happening? Then Jenny escapes and Leatherface starts chasing her, and then we have this whole extended bullshit sequence where like she hops in an RV and then Vilmer and Leatherface run the RV off the road and it crashes. Then a plane just shows up out of nowhere and hits Vilmer in the head and kills him.
Yep.
Why?
Filmer getting his head buzzed by a low-flying airplane was just laughable.
But why was it
I
even
don't know.
there? Why
Yep.
even write that in?
Yep.
And then the limo pulls up with Rothman again, and Jenny gets in, and then he apologizes, and I think he breaks the fourth wall. Because he specifically says, he goes, this entire thing has just been a complete abomination.
This. All this. It's been an abomination. You really must accept my sincere apologies. It was supposed to be a spiritual experience. I can't tell you how disappointed I am.
Yeah. He didn't know it at the time, but he was talking about the movie itself.
I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if somebody got him to say that knew it's like, oh, this is all fucked. But man, what a meta moment that is, eh? And then she's taken to a hospital where randomly Sally from part 1 is wheeled by on a gurney.
Yep.
What was happening?
Is that who we were supposed to think that was?
Yeah, that was Sally
yeah.
from part 1. Yeah, it's not the same actress, I don't
Yeah.
think. I don't think it was whatever her name is, Marilyn Burns.
But there's no I mean, that's the thing. If you're not going to use the same actor, then how do we know that's who that is? I mean, she doesn't say anything. She doesn't do anything. She just...
it's a mess. It's
yeah.
all a mess. Everything's wrong.
Yep.
Like, was their intent to set up... Like, honestly, were they trying to set... This is the part 6 of... This is the Curse of Michael Myers. Were they honestly trying to set up like a Cult of Thorn thing with the guy with the piercings where he's like, the Sawyers are now a part of some weird satanic cult group?
Yep. But remember, one of them quotes literary quotes because he's smart. I'm like, where'd this guy come from?
Oh yeah, that was the other brother.
Yeah. Before he does anything, he always has to cite some literary phrase, and then he does whatever he's going to do.
It's all wrong, man.
Everything about this movie is wrong.
It's all wrong. Yeah. Fuck this film. Yeah. Fuck
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. It's
Oh,
crap.
yeah.
Anything else, Yola?
Nope.